I am sure that you already know how to create Google Form assessments, and you have probably used them in your classroom a lot. However, in this video, I want to teach you how to make your Google Form test adaptive, meaning if your student answers any of the questions on the quiz incorrectly, rather than moving on to the next question, they will be forced to stop, relearn the concept on the spot, and then retake the question. So this is how you create an adaptive Google Form test. First, you go to Google Forms and you click on the blank quiz template. You proceed as usual. You give your quiz a title. You also create a space for your student's name, short answer, not graded, so you don't want to assign any points here. And now you're ready to create your first question by clicking on the plus sign, add question. So the first question on my quiz will be, which of these is a chemical change? And it will be a multiple choice question. I'm going to provide 4 options here for answers: stirring paper, boiling water, metal rusting, and then melting a crayon. Next, I'm going to create another section on the quiz, section 2, and another section 3, and another section 4, and you want as many sections, as many questions you want on your test. All right, back to question 1. Now I'm going to create an answer key. So I will assign 1 point to this question, and the correct answer is metal rusting. Now I'm going to click on these 3 dots and select Go to section based on answer. If my student answers this question incorrectly, then they will be able to move on to section 4. If my student answers this question incorrectly by selecting any of the other 3 answers, then they will have to move to section 2 instead. Now, section 2 will be for relearning about chemical changes. So I'm going to just call it second chance. All right, so here I am going to upload a textbook page that talks about rusting. So I am kind of revealing the correct answer to question 1, but that's okay. I'm just going to rephrase that question. Why is rusting a chemical change? In order to answer this question, my students will be forced to read this textbook passage, and by doing this, they will get a good refresher on chemical changes. And then here are the options. Rust is a new kind of matter. Rust forms in humid conditions, and so on and so forth. Once again, I want to have 4 different options, one of them being correct. So the correct answer here, which is worth 1 point, is rust is a new kind of matter. Now, if my student answered this question correctly, then they will be able to move on to section 4 as well. If my student answers this question incorrectly, then they will have to go to section 3. Okay, section 3. In section 3, my students will have to watch a video about chemical changes. Last chance. So I'm going to upload a video, a YouTube video about chemical changes. All right, and say after watching the YouTube video about chemical changes, I'm going to have my students go back to question either 1 or 2. Really, it doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to have them go back to question 1. And hopefully, after reading about Rust and after watching the video about chemical changes, they will be able to answer this question correctly. I just realized that section 2 kind of revealed the answer to question 1. So instead, I'm going to select go to section 2, where they have to answer the question about why rusting is a chemical change. All right, and now section 4 is for those who finally made it. They answered the questions in the first part correctly. So this section will be for the law of the conservation of matter concept. Here's the first question. Oh, I don't know what this is doing in here. Let me just quickly delete it. There we go. So here's the first question in section 4. What? Okay, I back up. If you mix 5 grams of sugar with water, what will the weight? So the options will be 5 grams, 10 grams, 15 grams. Impossible to tell. This question is also worth 1 point. And the correct answer is 15 grams. And again, you can once again create another section where your students have to relearn about the conservation of matter in case they missed this question. You can just go on like this throughout the entire quiz. And every time your students miss a particular question, they will be referred to another section where they will relearn about that concept. And now I'm going to share this quiz with myself. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to send it. And this is what this adaptive quiz looks like in practice. All right, so I'm going to answer this question incorrectly on purpose. Say I'm going to select tearing paper. And as you can see, rather than taking me to section 4, I am now in section 2, second chance. I have to read this passage about rusting and say I answer this question incorrectly again. So now I have to watch this video. And I'm back to question 2, where I have to reread the passage again. And let's say I answered this question correctly this time around. Now I'm in the next section. And now I can submit my quiz. And I can view my score. All right, there it is.